Red Bell, are you ready? Because we're going to start. Thank you. All right, you good? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me? Do I need to talk? Mike's not on. Did it get unplugged? It's on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
A little bit? I have to shout tonight?
Yeah.
Or switch mics.
You switch mics, Madam Chair.
Yeah, but there's a whole cableage thing.
Let's see what we could do. Sorry?
Hi, everyone. Oh, that's better.
Got it?
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you. I mean, because we're delayed 2 minutes now, guys. All right. This meeting of Brooklyn Community Board 14 is called to order on Monday, December 18th, 2023 at 7:02 p.m. under the applicable statutes of New York State, the Charter of New York City, the board's bylaws, and Robert's Rules of Order. The board's policy is to encourage detailed public discussion of matters before the board at our The board's policy is to encourage detailed public discussion of matters before the board at our committee meetings and at public hearings. Consequently, except by board members, there will be no public discussion at our regular monthly meeting of matters about which a public hearing or committee meeting has been held. Specific service delivery requests or complaints should be brought to the attention of the district office staff by calling the board office during regular business hours or by visiting our website anytime. Other matters of civic interest may be brought before the board during our scheduled public comment period, which begins tonight after all other business on the board's monthly meeting agenda has been concluded. No partisan, political appeals, or advertising of for-profit enterprises will be heard. Persons wishing to speak during the public comment period were asked to pre-register. We'll begin the agenda with the roll call by the secretary.
Oh my goodness, sorry everyone, good evening. Wakil Ahmed, Gregory Alvarez, Hindi Bendel here, Benjamin Bendit, Christopher Bomson, Joanne Brown,
Present.
Michelle Brunson, Edward Sen, Carmen Sarabel, Carl Henry Caesar,
Cesar here.
Florenzia Changajita, Yvette Claire-Jean, Mark Cohn, Stephen Cohn,
Here.
Elizabeth Dennis,
Present.
Derek Donald, Sabina Dorville, Joseph Dweck,
Here.
Yehuda Eckstein, Lee Harmon,
Here.
Musa Hassan,
Here.
William Hatter, Midi Harris, Mordechai Brzarski, Nadika Johnson,
Present.
Shahid Khan,
Yes.
Naomi Lipnick,
Here.
Donald Loggins,
Present.
Sasha Mazlewski, Melissa Minich, Ephraim Nuremberg, Boris Noble, Eric Ost, Ornella Parker, Susan Phillip, Steve Potzer, Edward Powell, Barda Passant, Mohammed Razvi, Bazarubi, Nina Saab here, Talisha Steinville,
Here.
Moshe Schoenfeld, Joel Siegel, Gail L. Smith, Abraham Chaff, Deborah Valentin,
Yeah.
Corazon Valiente,
Present.
Dawn Mary Walker, Glenn Wallen. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much.
Just show they just walked in. Do you want the record to show 2 board members just arrived?
Let the record show that 2 board members have arrived, increasing.
Yeah, we have quorum.
We have quorum. Moving on to the minutes of the November 2023 General Board meeting. Were there any changes via email to those minutes to the board office? The answer is no. Are there any changes from board members from the floor regarding the minutes of that meeting? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone wishing to abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to the district manager's report. District Manager Sean Campbell.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I want to start by thanking the staff because up until last week, with the 4 previous weeks, the office had no heat. And so thanks for working through the chilly days of end of November, beginning of December. I also want to thank Sarah Sklaw for really being the catalyst for a program that the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office put together to train people to assist with temporary status for immigration. That was done by through Nancy Lulu's assistance and was a good thing. I think there are 30-some families from the shelters in our district and then others who were served by that. And I'm going to also thank Patricia Olander, who I'm going to mention a little bit later, but who provided a training. We have to work, our financial management system is through this entity called FISA. It's a really difficult, completely cumbersome system, and many of our colleagues in other districts struggle with it, and there's some newer people. So we're kind of getting together a little more often and trying to share some best practices, especially in the absence of some support we've received in the past. And so she put together a really good demonstration, and it was just nice. We had about 12 colleagues in the office and several others online, and so we're going to keep getting together to do that. Since our last meeting, I attended 2 Borough Service Cabinet meetings, the Town Hall flooding event that was put together by Rita Joseph's office that was well attended and I think fruitful and meaningful. We also I attended a community housing services open house and got to meet some people who hopefully I can bring to a Human Service Committee meeting sometime in the near future. Attended a community meeting at the King's Theater with local residents regarding concerns on the shelter over there and Clipper equities and the developers on that side of the district. There's been a 70th Precinct Community Council meeting or 2 and a Prospect Park Community Committee with the Alliance. I also had the privilege of attending a Shamroom and Borough event honoring Chief McAvoy and got to see some of our old friends from back in the day. Dominic Scotto, Detective Scotto was there, and Kimmy Walker. So that was a nice way to spend some holiday cheer. I told you that we hosted the FMS training, and I think I'll leave it at that. I will see you all this Wednesday, not to steal anybody's thunder, but at the 70th Precinct Community Council meeting where they will be hosting a holiday party, Blue Santa and Magic. We'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, District Manager Sean Campbell. I would like to recognize the representatives of elected officials that are here with us tonight in no particular order. If I miss you, just raise your hand and so I can catch you. Starting from Councilmember Farrah Lewis's office, we have Avraham Malachowski. From Brooklyn Borough President's office, we have Eileen Mullaney Newman. From the 70th Precinct Community Council, we have Ed Powell, President Ed Powell. From the 70th Precinct, we have Detective Scott Nuzzi. And from Councilmember Rita Joseph's office, we have Brian Grady. Moving on to the chair's report. This is going to be so long. I am so sorry. Good evening, board members. I hope those observing had a wonderful Hanukkah. I was remiss to not wish you a happy Hanukkah at the end of the last meeting. Moving on to public hearings, we'll start with the recommendation from the board, application for full licensure for an adult use retail dispensary at 507 Coney Island Avenue. A public hearing was held on December 5th, 2023 at the Community Board office. The purpose of this hearing was to hear public testimony with respect to an application for full licensure of an adult use retail dispensary license at 507 Coney Island Avenue. The state of New York allows 30 days should the board wish to express an opinion to the Cannabis Control Board. The application for this location, the applicant was Flatbush Flowers Incorporated. The representative for Bud Bodega, the applicant for 501 Flatbush Avenue, Ricardo Rose, testified that the application for 507 Coney Island Avenue should have been withdrawn. To date, the board office has not received notification that Flatbush Flowers has officially withdrawn that application. The applicant for 501 Coney Island Avenue also testified that they are one building, which is correct, but the storefront addresses are separated by 503 Coney Island Avenue. The public hearing proceeded with the testimony from the representative from Bud Bodega LLC of 501 Coney Island Avenue, and such locations were considered together. No public hearing was held for 501 Coney Island Avenue. Just a little bit of context, because this is going to come up later, and this was one of the issues that board members had with this application. When notice is filed with community boards across the city, the applicant is allowed to self-certify that the location meets sensitive site distances. It is only when the application is reviewed by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management that the distances are confirmed by that licensing body. My commentary is I find this process to be flawed, with the potential to waste not only this assembly's time and the public's time, but also the time of the New York City public servants of community boards who must administrate these applications and hearings expensed with our city dollars. The recommendation of board members in attendance was to approve the application with the condition that straight line distances to PS 889 be substantiated by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management as 500 feet or greater. It is this board's clear observation that straight line distance to the southwest corner of Turner Place and Coney Island Avenue to the door of 501 Flatbush Avenue and the door of 507 Flatbush Avenue. Sorry, guys. I wrote this very quickly. Just keep me in check. And to go back, it is the board's clear observation that the straight line distance to the southwest corner of Turner Place and Coney Island Avenue to the door of 501 Coney Island Avenue is less than 500 feet. This is the same for 507 Coney Island Avenue. As is the straight line distance approximation from the front door of the school on Hinckley Place to the front door of the proposed dispensary location. I'm opening the floor up to board members for discussion about this matter. We'll start with Glenn Wong. To speak, please come up to the microphone. Thank you.
Hi. Well, the applicant stated that he thought the law said from front door to front door. If that's true, then it's more than 500 feet. But I find that to be extremely distressing, because from the closest corner of the school building to the proposed dispensary is maybe 100 feet, 150 feet tops. So no matter what the law is, I'm very uncomfortable voting for this. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with Board Member Carl Henry Cesar. You're good?
Yeah.
All right. You got that, Mike? Board Member Steve Cohen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, just to reiterate what I had said at the other meeting, I agree that the distance should be from a straight line from the closest point of the school to the entrance of the premises. That's what the guidance from OCM says. And even, I believe, even if you did a straight line from the school entrance to the proposed entrance of the premise, that would still be under 500 feet if you did a straight line rather than, walking to the corner and, walking in straight lines to the corner and up the block. I think we should, I'm not sure if there's going to be a motion on the floor based on what was recommended at the last meeting, but I agree with Glenn. I went to the site earlier today. The proposed storefront looks like it's visible from every window of the school along Coney Island Avenue and Turner Place. So it certainly seems like it's within 500 feet. It certainly seems like it's within the letter, if not the spirit of the rule, and certainly I can understand why there would be a policy why we don't want kindergartners in their classroom looking out at a weed dispensary during class. So I think for all those reasons, and I also agree that it is a waste of our time and others' time for applicants to not do the least bit of due diligence to make sure that they're in compliance with the rule as stated. So for those reasons, I think we should reject this application.
So one moment. So to the question that you had, because the recommendation came from the public hearing, we will hear that recommendation on a vote first. If it carries, it carries. If it does not carry, then we can move to another motion. Okay, so we are obligated to address what the recommendation was with the vote. If it carries, it carries. If it does not, then we will form another motion and vote on that, okay? And that's actually going to happen a few times tonight, I think. We'll move on to Board Member Ed Sen.
Thank you. Glenn, just to clarify, the applicant said they hired someone that was previously employed by OCM, and I just want to state for the record that it's a conflict of interest. But they claim that whoever advised them worked for OCM and that they were knowledgeable as far as the distance. But based on what we've reviewed, it is well under 500 feet.
Thank you. Any additional discussion about this matter? Board Member Corazon Valiente.
I just wanted to ask a clarifying question. If we're voting on both of these spaces at one vote, or are there two separate ones?
So I was going to add that as a qualifier to what the recommendation was. I think we need to be very clear that this is going to be about 501 Coney Island Avenue, and that we don't create a sense that we're making a recommendation for both locations. We don't want it, because it was very confusing during the public hearing. So even though this was the hearing for 507, we need to be very clear that this is about 501.
And you're talking about like
That's right. Yes, because the other applicant did not show up and the public hearing did not take place. But the discussion occurred during the public hearing for 507. Okay. Here, I'll give you mine.
Thank you. Folks, good evening. If I remember correctly, because the distance of the proposed 501 Coney Island Avenue was very close to those two schools, the applicant had said that he had measured it himself, and I believe we had said that we wanted some sort of third-party validation of the measurement as well. And so my question is, have we heard back from the applicant yet regarding that third-party validation of the distance between 501 Coney Island Avenue and those two schools?
No, we have not.
Thank you.
I think I can take one more.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to add that my experience since COVID is that I know the letter of the law may be main entrance to a storefront, But schools are now using many entrances for exit and exit. Students are not only going through main entrances. Maybe they were at one point, but certainly since COVID, there's lots of policies. I know several schools where they're exiting at all areas of the building. So I would just add that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe Board Member Steve Cohen clarified that it is the closest property line, so it's not an entrance issue right now. All right. So, again, the recommendation of board members in attendance was to approve the application with the condition that straight line distance to PS 889 be substantiated by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management as 500 feet or greater. And then I'd like to add to that this motion is for 501 Coney Island Avenue, not for both properties.
501 and Bud Bodega.
And Bud Bodega. Thank you. Do I have a motion? Yes?
That be subject to closest point of the property line being less than 500 feet?
That's as OCM describes it.
Okay, so that wasn't, so that's what your motion, the motion includes that specificity.
It includes the guidelines that OCM has. Do I have a motion for this recommendation to come to the floor?
I make a motion for this recommendation to come to the floor. I second.
Okay. Those in favor, let me see your hands and see if we have to do a roll call vote. Those in favor. The motion is to accept the recommendation from board members present, which is approve with the condition. So, those in favor, I'm not seeing any hands.
No, I think, did you have a hand?
Okay, all right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Those opposed?
More than 6.
More than 6. And anyone abstaining? I really don't want abstentions tonight, I have to be honest with you. We need to make decisions, I think.
You were there.
Okay.
You were present.
Anyone ineligible to vote on this matter? Okay, so this motion does not carry. So let me ask, is there a different motion? Are we motioning to reject the application, please?
Yes, motion to reject the application.
Okay. Now, can I ask you, motion to reject based on the location?
Based on the location, proximity to.
Okay. Thank you. So the motion is to reject the application based on the proximity to PS 899, which appears to be less than 500 feet. Do I have a second?
Can I ask for a point of clarification?
Yes.
Is our, just returning to our charge here, is it to the applicant or is it to the location?
Right, and that's why I'm being very specific, that we are not rejecting. Let me clarify. He who has brought the motion, we are not rejecting the applicant, we are rejecting the location, and that's why we are rejecting the application. Okay. Thank you for the point of clarification. So that was seconded. So let's see, we'll do a show of hands, and if it looks funny, we'll do roll call. All those in favor? Okay. Just keep them up for a second. She's doing a count.
Can you, all those in favor, can you say again?
All those in favor of rejecting the application based on location?
There are at least 31 hands up.
Okay. All those opposed to rejecting the application? 1, 2, 3, 4. Any abstentions? And anyone ineligible to vote? Okay, thank you. The motion to reject the application based on location, 501 Coney Island Avenue carries. Thank you. Just for the record, I will say once again, the application for full licensure for an adult use retail cannabis dispensary at 501 Coney Island Avenue, there was no public hearing for this application. That application was heard at the public hearing for 507 Coney Island Avenue. Moving on to the application for full licensure of adult use retail dispensary at 1805 Church Avenue. A public hearing was held on December 5th at the Community Board office. The purpose of this hearing was to hear public testimony with respect to an application for full licensure for an adult use retail dispensary license at 1805 Church Avenue. The state of New York allows 30 days should the board wish to express an opinion to the Cannabis Control Board. The applicant for this location is Fiend City 2 Corp. Board members in attendance recommended to reject the application on the basis that an unlicensed smoke shop it is my understanding that some board members feel that cannabis is currently being sold on the property without a state license, is already operating on this location, and it appears to the board a disingenuous attempt to legitimize the unlicensed activities currently taking place. I want to make note that the attorney for the applicant, Mr. McKenzie, is here this evening. Although this isn't the right forum for his comments, I do encourage you to write your own statement to the Cannabis Control Board. Is there any discussion on this matter tonight? Seeing none, do I have a motion to reject the application on the basis of the items that I just presented to you and the opinion of the board? Thank you. Yes. It appeared to me from watching the public hearing that was taped that it was a mixture of both. There was a lot of questions about the name. There was clarifications about the name in a DBA. There was this feeling that the activities that are currently taking place in what they described as a convenience store are not necessarily with license. Okay, so I believe the rejection would be for both. Okay, so thank you for that question. We'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor of rejecting the application, let me see, I'll see a show of hands. We'll see if we need to do a roll call vote. Okay. All those opposed to rejecting the application? 1, 2. Anyone wishing to abstain from voting? Anyone ineligible to vote? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to the public hearing for 1817 Avenue H. What is that?
817.
I said
1817.
Oh, sorry, 817 Avenue H. I'm a little dyslexic tonight. Oh, but I have so many numbers to read with this ULURP. Oh, my goodness. This public hearing was called to order on December 5th, 2023 at the Community Board office. The purpose of this hearing was to hear public comment with respect to ULURP land use number C230323ZMK and N18049-7ZRK. A zoning text amendment from R5 to C1-3, zoning district to R7A/C2-4, and zoning text amendment to map a new MIH area to facilitate a new 9-story, 69,275 square foot mixed-use development, including 41,348 square feet of residential space. That's approximately 42 dwelling units, and 22,149 square feet of community facility space at 1817 Avenue H.
817.
I said all those numbers right, and then I just said the address wrong. It's just Mercury. Thanks, 817. These applications and amendments were being sought by August Council of Greater New York. Applicants' representatives providing the presentation were David Rosenberg of Phillips Nizar LLP. As a reminder, except by board members, there will be no public discussion at our regular monthly meetings of matters about which a public hearing or committee meeting has been held. I'll start by reading, during the public hearing, we invited those that were attending the meeting via YouTube but didn't have a chance to comment in real time. They were able to send their comments into the board office, so I'll read those. I'm going to read the public comments that came in first.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
How did we get this barrage of emails coming to our personal?
I was really disturbed by that. Yeah. Can we set that aside and I can tell you what this is?
The first one came via email from community member Marion Yuen. Their comments were, should the requested rezoning be approved, what is the enforcement mechanism that the new building will be constructed as the 12.5 presentation showed? In other words, can the building be redesigned and built to further maximize the developer's financial needs? The question was asked at the 12.5 meeting about what assurances will there be that a house of worship and community center could continue in the new building in 20 years. I believe that the answer provided at the 12.5 meeting that it depends on the agreement to be determined with the yet to be disclosed developer presents a hazard to the community. What are the approvals and the enforcement mechanisms to ensure community needs? I will read the next comment that we received. Yeah.
Madam Chair, in the past, we always had a policy, if a person was not by the meeting, they couldn't send letters. Why all of a sudden we changed this?
I think we're trying to be as transparent as possible because there are.
But the fact is, they should have been there. They decided to stay home, watch on YouTube, does not mean we have to start hearing everything again.
It was my first inclination when I got the emails with the comments was that we normally don't do this, but it was offered that those attending via YouTube.
That's the case, why it's being offered. Because the policy of the board has always been, you're there or you don't have a say.
Thank you for the point of clarification. In terms of administrative, for public hearings in the future, we will not offer that if that is the will of this board. That those that wish to speak will speak at the meeting. Just let me get the last comment. I'm going to abbreviate it a little bit for the sake of time. Okay. Dear board members, I am a homeowner living at, and I will redact that address, but it is East 8th Street. The vote, I'm sorry, and this is from, I'm going to butcher your name, I'm really sorry, Alex Moriescu. The vote on rezoning of blocks between East 8th and East 9th Street from C1 to R7A. The residents of this area were caught completely by surprise by this and not giving enough time to review it, and many questions remained unanswered. The process is less than transparent. Based on the proposal, this would create an enormous building on Avenue H. Avenue H is just, in the last year, seen 2 large residential buildings go up between East 7th and Ocean Parkway. There are at least 9 additional lots between Ocean Parkway and East 7th that can be developed and likely will be in the near future. These are already R7 and are available for new housing. We're currently just the last week, collected 175 signatures opposing the change of the zoning. There's real opposition in the area. It's already overbuilt. This building will adversely impact the character of the area, light and air, traffic, parking, and other things. We urge you to oppose this rezoning, which takes so much from people in the area. And that is the end of comments that we received from those watching via YouTube. Now, the recommendation of board members in attendance was to approve the potential community residential was to approve the rezoning of these, the 2 ULURP, the zoning text amendment, the change the zoning text map, and the MIH area. But I will say that I don't think that I don't think an approval actually goes far enough. And I think we need to consider some conditions based on what we heard from the public. It has really always been the culture of the board to try to distill the opinion of the community members that will be affected by new development or change in zoning, and to react in a positive way as an approval with conditions. So I will begin the discussion about this, but we're going to structure it in a little bit of a different way. I want to start with questions from board members about the project, rather than, so if you have a question, please ask your question now. And then we will follow that with your recommendations for conditions. And then if we have time, you may come up and make a comment. Okay, so I'll start with Board Member Joe Dweck.
I'm sorry, I have a question regarding the, about a house of worship. Is there one there now? What's the reason for that?
So there is a synagogue there now, and a senior center. The plan of this organization is to relocate both in a radius that will be accessible to those members that are using those facilities now. Does that answer your question?
Maybe.
And then they will be returned to the development.
The nature, didn't quite understand, excuse me, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I didn't quite understand the emails. Were the emails concerned that the house of worship might be relocated into the new facility? Is that?
No, they want it to be. They want an assurance that it will be.
Okay, thanks.
Now, it was stated at the public hearing that there actually has to be a court ruling when you're going to move a house of worship. So this is going to go to an even a greater echelon. The process is going to be that we're going to make our recommendation, and the borough president will make their recommendation, which will offer another opportunity for the public to chime in. And then it will go to, and correct me if I'm wrong, my land use people, then it will go to CPC, and they will hear it. And then it will go to City Council, and they will hear it. And each step of the way, there will be public hearing, public opinion. Because this has a religious worship site, it actually has to go farther. It has to go to the Attorney General's office, and then it has to go to court to ensure that the house of worship remains in the space. Okay. Did I answer your question? So again, we're only taking questions. Nina.
It wasn't really a question, I think I was just trying to clarify something that, in other words, because that general property has already been designated as a house of worship, they can't take it and turn it into a shopping center or something like that. It can only be used for that purpose.
I think
Or in that premise.
I'll invite Board Member Gregory Alvarez to clarify on that.
Yeah, yes, hi. I've had a little experience with this in terms of how this process goes with going to the Attorney General's office. It's usually a petition that you submit to the Attorney General's office, and then they have to support it, and it sometimes, not always, but then it goes to the court for, reaffirmation of it to certify that this step can be taken. And the purpose of it is to ensure that the house of worship is that whatever change is made to the house of worship is being observed and is in the public interest. So it's really a check and balance sort of thing where whenever a church or synagogue or any religious organization wants to do something, it's really just to ensure that the public interest is being looked after. And so very often, in this sort of situation, you would think that the synagogue will be located to a site nearby for that purpose. But it is a separate process. It's a separate process aside from the land use aspect of it. The land use aspect is something separate. So
Can I just ask a quick question? Let's say the synagogue chooses not to return to that space. Does it still have to be a synagogue, or can it then be transformed into some other use?
Right. So I think what'll happen, it's, again, because it's sort of a test that's evaluating the public interest, I think they're going to do everything they can, both the Attorney General's office and the court, to ensure that the synagogue, probably the best solution, and what I think the community, what we heard, is that it will return to the same spot. But I think, as the applicant mentioned, it's not 100% guaranteed, and you can't say that it's 100% guaranteed, because it is a process that's going to be reviewed by other folks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm going to take other questions and then round back, so that everybody has an opportunity. All right, board member.
Thanks very much. In the hearing, at the beginning even of the hearing, the developers mentioned that they had not yet had a full sit down with the full congregation at the synagogue yet to discuss with them. I'm curious.
That's going to occur on the 19th, I believe they said.
So it hasn't happened yet, so we
It's
don't
tomorrow.
have feedback from, it's tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet any of that. Okay.
Right. Remember, we have questions. So we'll start with Corazon Valiente.
I guess it's just a question, comment about the laundromat, that they really had elevated that at the meeting, and so I just wondered if there was any status update.
No. Questions? We can take a few more. I mean, we'll start with Barden Prasant. Please, for the microphone.
Thank you. All of these extra steps and concerns for the synagogue apply exclusively to synagogue, I assume, and not the senior center, correct?
From watching the testimony, they made assurances that they also are committed to returning the senior center.
Okay, but
That was a question from the public, and they answered in the affirmative that they are committed to returning it.
Okay, but at the time I asked them, can we have a guarantee in 20 years that the senior center will still be there? And they said no.
Well, you can't guarantee
Right,
anything.
I said
anyway.
very specifically,
Okay.
can you guarantee? And you said no.
Okay.
Just saying. That was my question, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My question has to do with the nature of the vote we're going to take. So are we ultimately looking to approve the rezoning, like literally the height allowed and the uses allowed, or that specific initial presentation of 2 floors of community?
Oh, no, this is the clock is ticking on this ULURP application. It starts with us. Our recommendation is then going to move to the Borough President's office. So we will be making a recommendation to all of the ULURP and zoning text amendments that I stated to you today.
Okay.
Question? Is it a question? Okay. Last question.
Okay, so we don't know whether the senior center and or the synagogue congregation approves of this or they want this, right? We don't know that yet. That's going to happen tomorrow. So then maybe we should wait till after we find out what their opinion is.
I don't think we have another opportunity. We can make a condition that we approve it if the synagogue agrees. And
the senior center.
Right. So that's what we're going to talk about next, conditions.
Do we think that it would be an improvement for them, or or it would be something that would be negative?
I don't know. All right. So I'd like to talk about proposed conditions. So just again, like we did earlier, we're going to vote on the recommendation that board members in attendance of the public hearing made. So that was just approval. So we're going to vote on that first. If it carries, it carries. If it doesn't, then we will present a new motion, hopefully one that is in the spirit of what the board normally does, which is approval with conditions. But I really think that we need to go farther than just approval. Okay, Proposed conditions. I'll start.
Yeah, we have to vote first on the, right?
All right, yeah, you know what, that's more efficient. Yes?
Usually we have these hearings, the board votes on the recommendation and then starts asking questions thereafter.
Well-
Why would change around the whole system again?
Why? Because I don't think you went far enough, frankly. That I was a little concerned when I saw the recommendation, and I wanted us to talk about it. And anyway, this question period was a discussion, which normally happens before we actually vote on a recommendation. No, I mean, in the procedure, we always have a discussion about the matter. So we asked questions. I'm trying to keep it orderly because this could really turn into a runaway train. We could be here all night pontificating on traffic and transit and all the things, and I'm just trying to keep it orderly. Okay. All right, so again, the recommendation from board members in attendance was to approve these ULURP applications and rezonings. Do I have a motion to bring that?
Second.
Okay. So we'll do this again, and let me see those who approve the recommendation from the board at that public hearing. Just keep your hands up for a second. We have two here. You putting two hands up? Oh, okay.
I need two? There's two. No, don't do that, Joe. Don't do that.
Okay. Can I see those that oppose approving the application? All right, we're going to do a roll call vote. It's very close. And please, board members, unless you have a very, very valid reason, like you know absolutely nothing about this project, please do not abstain.
Wakil Ahmed? I'm sorry? Yes? You approve?
Yes.
Okay. Gregory Alvarez?
No.
Okay. Hindi Bendel, no. Benjamin Bendit?
Approve.
Christopher Bromson?
No.
Joanne Brown?
No.
Michelle Brunson?
No.
Edward Send?
No.
Carmen Cirabel? Carl Henry Cesar?
No.
Florenzia Changa Jada? Yvette Clerjean? Okay. Mark Cohn? Stephen Cohn?
Yes.
Elizabeth Dennis?
Yes.
Derek Donald? Sabina Dorval? Joseph Dweck?
Yes.
Yehuda Eckstein? Lee Harmon?
No.
Musa Hassan?
Yes.
William Hatter?
Sorry, can you repeat that, the last one?
Musa Hassan said yes.
Okay.
Assume. William Hatter? Midi Harris?
Yes.
Mordechai Huzarski?
Yes.
Nadika Johnson?
No.
Shahid Khan?
No.
Naomi Lipnick?
No.
Donald Loggins?
Yes.
Sasha Maslowski?
No.
Melissa Minnick?
No.
Ephraim Nuremberg?
Yes.
Boris Noble? Eric Ost?
No.
Ornella Parker? Susan Phillip?
No.
Tzvi Plotzker?
Yes.
Edward Powell?
No.
Barda Passant?
No.
Mohammed Razvi? Vazaruhi?
No.
Oh. Nina Sagber?
Yes.
Talisha Sandville?
No.
Moshe Schoenfeld? Joel Siegel.
Yes.
Gail L. Smith.
No.
Abraham Treff.
Yes.
Deborah Valentine.
And eligible to vote?
Corazon Valiente.
No.
Don Mary Walker.
No.
Glenn Wallen.
Approved.
Motion didn't carry.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to check her. Did you ask me?
No, that's fine. So the recommendation from the board did not carry.
Wait for the secretary to say.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So it fails.
Okay.
Motion fails.
Okay.
Into 20.
Thank you. According to the secretary and backed up by an informal vote at the table, that motion from the recommendation from the board, that motion did not carry. So now we will move forward with another motion, which would be what I hope, approval with conditions. Do I have a motion from the floor so that we can begin a discussion on that? Okay, thank you. So the motion on the floor is to approve with conditions. I'd just like to start the conversation with two things. There's 4 additional lots that are being rezoned that are contiguous with the proposed site. Those will allow anyone who wants to improve the property to improve it as of right, because it will have already been rezoned at the same, sort of mass and scope of this building. I get concerned when it's 4 different parcels and they are contiguous, because we run into a situation where perhaps the building in the scenario where they decide that they're not going to use those 2 parcels or are not able to collect those 2 parcels to make the building bigger, because they did have in their environmental study 3 different scenarios: no action, action. It is possible that in the future, the houses further away can be developed before the houses that are actually next to the new building or the proposed site. And that would create a significant sort of holdout situation where you might have 2 houses, you might have a big building, 2 little houses, and then another big building. Yes?
Can I just ask for a point of clarification?
Yes.
I know 4 other lots are part of it. My understanding was that the 2 front lots, that front on the avenue, would be part of the zoning to R7, and then the 2 rear ones were actually going to be changed so that the commercial overlay was going to be removed, and then it was going to be returned to, the existing zoning. That was just my understanding.
Okay, then that makes my point moot. So if you, from your understanding, you feel like we run no risk of development happening in trapping 2 small houses between 2 large buildings.
I don't believe that's the case.
Okay, perfect.
Those two additional lots are part of it.
Okay, great, thank you.
David Rosenberg is here in case you need to refer to him.
Okay. And then my next recommendation is, I don't know, I think this is a thing, a light and air study, because that was some of the concerns that came directly from residents and had been said over and over again. So a light and air study in addition to the environmental impact study that was already done. So that's my contribution, light and air. Next, board member.
Mine is that they include the laundry, that they said they would include. We said that, but it would like to be a condition.
Okay. Yes.
I would object to the idea of a light and air study because housing is a need immensely, especially with, as people have mentioned, there are other lots nearby that could get redeveloped, but none of them would have mandatory inclusionary housing, which would provide deeply affordable units to people in the area. And light and air is often a comment that people bring up when they don't want to have a large building anywhere near them. And bluntly, we need buildings that are larger than the buildings we have here in order to get more housing, which is something something that we've heard consistently as a deep need from this district, especially for, as mentioned at the meeting, to get those larger family-sized units that this developer had tried to map in here. We have not seen that in recent development as much in the area.
No, I understand your objection, and what we'll do is, when we try to collect our thoughts about the conditions that we're putting in, we'll put that one to a vote. Because does anyone else object to that? To a light and air? Yes, yes.
Just point of clarification, I believe in the environmental study they did include a shadow study.
Yes.
Okay.
Which showed some, at least in terms of shadowing, what the effects might be. So I don't know if that allays any concerns, but it did show that there would in fact be some shadowing of the building. But I think that what the applicant said was that they would try to mitigate that because of the stepped design of the building that would move it closer to Avenue H. So there is both, there certainly will be shadowing, but I think they did cover a bit of that in their study.
Thank you. I am just responding to what the comments were over and over again, and am trying to respect the community's concerns.
There's absolutely shadowing, but they did have a study.
Yes.
I'd just like to point out that given the FAR that they have or may have in the site, they could build a somewhat shorter, big cubic block building like all of us. And his point was, we're going a little bit higher so we can do a lot of setbacks to make it feel less onerous, which is really what the light and air concept is about, and that they're applying it as best they can to the situation. So to have another study on that doesn't help. We either agree that a big building there is a good idea, or we don't.
Okay. I see you shaking your head on that. Again, that was my suggestion and doesn't have to be included. I'm responding to the public. Yes.
I just wanted to mention that the light and air study that you're talking about is actually part of the 2021 Seeger tech study, and that's included in their open space part 2.2, which is already in this.
Okay. Conditions. So, yeah.
Sean Campbell, not a board member, but the setbacks that were proposed could be, even though they were part of the proposal, could be conditioned in order to sort of hold them to that accountability.
That's a good suggestion and can be used in place of a light and air study. Yes.
Just another condition that was already suggested, which is that the synagogue is not going to vote until tomorrow. And I think that our condition that our approval would be predicated upon the synagogue being interested in going ahead, I think that's fairly significant.
Yes, thank you. I'm writing it down.
We are going to vote on all of these, right? Individually?
No, maybe not.
I'm sorry?
Do we have to lobby objections to say if we're going to vote on adding these conditions individually or not?
We're soliciting conditions, and then we can, do you have a comment about that condition that you don't like, or another one other than the?
I mean, I think it just similarly, there was a strong commitment to make sure that the synagogue would have a space, and the senior center would have a space from the developer, and conditioning it on other people, the need for housing is again very great, and this would be able to be a synagogue and housing instead of just allowing for what's currently there and not adding affordable or additional housing units.
I want to bring us back to a place of what we actually do and what our decisions mean, and their advisory and their recommendations, and they should be formed by what the community wants as well. I think that if the community is reliant on a synagogue that has been there for a long period of time, I think it's perfectly okay for us to put it as a condition. And CPC will see the importance of that in our recommendation. They don't have to, they're not going to take our recommendation and say, oh, well, we can't approve this because they can't meet any of these needs.
I just think that we should also reflect the needs of all of the community and
No, absolutely, but what I'm saying is, we're creating a list, a very sensible and reasonable laundry list to present to the borough president, to CPC, to the council, that this is what we heard. Yes, so I've already heard from you. Nina?
Okay, so my understanding is that this is a project of the Aguda, which already has the synagogue that's there, that's been there for eons, which, by the way, I go there, and it's heartbreaking. It is in terrible, terrible condition. It's a shame that this is the senior center that we have to offer people in the neighborhood, but they go there because it's there. But, you know, the day and age where people could just build buildings, you know, that were freestanding without there being something bringing in some money to pay the cost doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
But anyway, so I just think that those concerns about whether it's still going to continue to be, you know.
I think that concern came from the fact that they haven't met with them yet, and they're meeting with them tomorrow, and we're trying to make a decision tonight. So,
Yeah, I mean, because I just thought that was part and parcel of the rest of that it was
I was convinced, but not everybody is convinced. We had a community member say here today that they weren't convinced that it was going to be there. So we're just trying to address everything.
Yeah, that was my understanding, that was part of the package.
Yeah.
Okay.
But other people aren't convinced, including community members that have sent in, you know, comments. Yes.
Out of curiosity, how many comments did the board get regarding this issue?
We had quite a few board members actually attend the public hearing. There was all kinds of pulling chairs out of places we hadn't pulled out chairs. But we received the two that I read you.
So just the two from people that weren't board members?
I'm sorry?
Just two comments from non-board members?
Aside from those who attended the public hearing, yes.
Okay,
But yes, we'll leave it at that. Any additional suggestions for conditions? Yeah, sorry, you gotta tap me because I don't know. Go ahead.
I just propose that people in the surrounding buildings are notified about upcoming public hearings and all those things. I know that many people who live across the street from there do not know. So how, unless the outreach, any outreach has taken place, that anything's happening.
I don't necessarily think that that is a condition of our recommendation because it's a land use matter. It is up to,
We can make it, who wants to make it a condition, we can request that the developer ensure.
but this is, so explain this to me in the land of we're sending a recommendation to the borough president, so on and so forth.
Switch it out, Eric, a little bit.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm trying to figure out if this fits, but that's fine. It's not my decision, it's your decision.
I'm wondering if it's, so between the December 5th public hearing and this one, there's definitely been a ton of comments. And so I'm wondering if it's truly in the process to propose language for said recommendation or not.
You mean from the,
Like to propose a motion to put to the floor, right? Because we had already voted and rejected approving with no conditions. Okay, understood.
we're still having the discussion.
You've got Melissa.
I'm going to take Glenn first, and then, because you had your hand up. You forgot? All right, Melissa.
Sure, I just wanted to respond to a couple of things. I don't know if people actually read the methodology and what they submitted, but a lot of what people are asking for is actually in their methodologies and the rezonings and what they plan to do. And it's basic rezoning, basic, if you've ever worked in affordable housing, if you've ever worked in this field, it's what you have to do. So what you're asking for, letting people know, doing field surveys,
Mehdi?
Want to remind people that 20% of the units are assigned to be affordable.
25.
20%, 8 units.
I thought it was 25. What's that?
25.
25. 11 units.
25 is pretty good.
Yeah.
It is, I think, if people are not paying attention to that, I think that's just one important factor there. I wanted to see if it is, that neighborhood doesn't have many public spaces. I was wondering if they can include a condition for creating a plaza or some benches or something in front of the building to just open up the, that building front, if possible. Because, it happens in some of the buildings, incentive zoning does that. So I wonder if it's an option.
All right, so let me distill that a little bit. So you're asking as a condition that there be publicly accessible plaza or green space that would be sponsored by the construction of the building.
Yeah, the plaza might be just not, but some public amenities.
Green space.
Green space or, publicly accessible.
Right, benches.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have a question. But isn't it going to be a community center in there?
Yes.
Senior center, community center,
Yeah. Distill the ones that are on the table.
No, I have them. Yeah, not yet. Yes, you remembered?
To remind people that part of the design was to have the building setback, I think it was about 5 feet from the curb all the way around, so there could be some planting. There's not enough room for them to build what they want to build and carve out a huge chunk of it for a park for the public. But they are trying to make it as nice as possible. And a lot of the things that people are concerned about, let's just notifying people, within 400 feet, they're required to do that. I don't have to say that. The applicant, their mission statement, according to them, has to do with maintaining and expanding senior centers and synagogues. So
Again, I don't need convincing.
the last point. The fact that Martin asked a specific question, could they guarantee 20 years from now? You guys said, effectively said, nobody can guarantee anything 20 years from now, so I can't personally guarantee that this is still going to be standing 20 years from now. But this is the nature of their organization. I'm done. Thank you.
Yes, Naomi.
It's not a community center, it's a senior center where people come to have lunch and stay and hang out. So they would take that away, people aren't gonna have what to eat. They rely on that for 5 days a week.
Yep. All right, so I just want to do a time check. It is 8:09. Is there anybody else that I haven't heard from? Yes, Svi.
Thank you. I don't believe the intent of the Agudis is to take 1 ounce away from either the synagogue or the senior center. Based on what I heard from the applicant, and even when I spoke afterwards to the part of the applicant, whoever was dealing with the application, was that they were going to even consider my recommendation, which came from the board, that laundry place will somehow fit into the picture as well. So they are very, very much willing to be very cooperative, and I think we're taking this much further than we would ever take anything else.
No, I appreciate that. I don't think that we are, because we didn't have this discussion at the public hearing.
I agree that that's a matter of opinion. My opinion is that we're going much further, and I heard Mr. Nierenberg say the same thing, that we're taking it further out of our realm of what we need to do. And it didn't pass over here with the full board when 90% of the things that come from the original meetings do pass. So there has to be something else that's cooking here that's very concerning to me.
There's nothing.
I'm not saying who, what, I'm just saying it's concerning to me.
Yeah.
It's my opinion.
As the person who sits in the office in the aftermath of all board decisions and who hears from members of the public, I appreciate when the board will make an exception to its norms by continuing conversations to ensure the members of the public that their concerns are heard. There doesn't seem to be a recommendation on the table that is really far afield from what the developers articulated they intended. If we're only repeating stuff that they either have to do or have expressed a commitment to doing, but we document it and it becomes part of the public record, I feel, well, I hope that it then signifies having heard members of the public and having heard and balanced it well with the proposal by the developers and the landowners. So while it might be unusual for us to do this, it's not unheard of. And I can go back to the record for times we've opened conversations back up on the floor. But when it's important and we want to get it right, all I can say is thank you all for extra time.
I mean, the borough president's comprehensive plan is extremely focused on housing, extremely focused, and we should be in support of that. And nothing that we are saying here does not support more housing, especially, and I really commend the mix that you are putting in, because my biggest complaint is that we don't have enough 3 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms and family-sized units. So I really commend that. So I just want maybe those who think that we're taking this too far is that we're just want to make sure that the concerns of the community members that live in that vicinity are heard and they are distilled in this decision.
Thank you.
Okay. We can be here all night. So we have some conditions that were put out there. Would you like to read them?
I think what we have gathered is...
So let's go through each one of them and do a vote so we don't have to hash out anything else tonight, okay? So we're just going to do hands. She'll say a condition, and we will decide whether or not that's something we want to include.
Confirming that the setbacks proposed will be in the final development.
Okay, all those opposed? 1, 2, okay. That one seems to be a popular one. Next.
I'm going to try to finesse this a little bit from the deferring to the concerns expressed by synagogue members when presented to them in ensuring ongoing community engagement. There was a proposal to condition this upon approval following this, approval of the synagogue. So I kind of changed that to, you know, I'll get to that. I can only do one at a time, I'm told.
Can we reword that to potentially saying to ensure that there is continuity for the synagogue congregation instead of, because that would make sure, that would allow for them to potentially move to a different site temporarily and come back and ensure their congregation has services, even if they are opposed to potentially having to move a little bit temporarily. I think that's
conditioned upon the commitment that the developers made to maintaining the senior center, the synagogue, and the laundromat.
Yeah. Okay.
I would draw mine.
I liked continuity. Okay, all in.
It's very nice to state that we're going to have some objection or put together categories. But categories of the synagogue and the senior center, that's one thing. I'm not saying that they're not, I'm not insinuating that they're not going to look at the laundromat. But to put those two, that puts down the synagogue's value.
Okay, I want to...
We will not include laundry with the other two. Thank you.
Do I need to repeat it still? Conditioned upon the developer's commitment to maintaining continuity, the senior center and the synagogue. Did I get all the words? Okay, I'll have to go back to the video.
Anyone opposed? Okay, seeing none, next.
Ensuring maximizing greening and landscaping. I can make those words better, but.
You get it. All those in favor?
I see what you did there.
So, all right, please, all those in favor?
I'm not sure, maybe say it again. Yes.
Conditioned upon the developer's assurance that they will add greening and landscaping. Somebody.
It's already on tape, so just go with the first one, which was.
They,
Design. So are we asking for greening and landscape, or are we asking for something that the community can use?
I don't think they don't have space for that.
Yeah.
Well, we could add that. The one on the floor is is maximizing greening and landscaping. That's what's on the floor.
Okay, so that's what we're voting. Greening and landscaping is what we're voting on right now. We can finesse. Yes, all those in favor of greening and landscaping?
That doesn't look like it's not passing.
Yeah. No?
No. That will not be a condition.
Okay, that is not a condition. What's left? Oh, the laundromat. The condition of including the laundromat as a needed community facility, and that was expressed in the public hearing. All those in favor of that? Those opposed? Okay, that condition carries. All right. I think we got everything. So based on, yes?
I'm just wondering procedurally if we should have a final vote with all of the conditions, just to make sure that there's not someone who is yes, we
No,
cover all
we'll
of these with all the conditions.
we'll read it out. It may not be the exact language, but it'll be in spirit. Okay? So now, what I'm looking for is a motion to approve with conditions. And the conditions will be the laundromat, the commitment to the continuity of the synagogue and the senior center, maintaining the setbacks as described.
That's all there was.
Right, we got it, we did it?
Three things.
Green space, oh, no, that didn't carry.
No, those three things only.
Yes.
Were we also going to be willing to mandatory inclusionary housing? That's required already.
It's required. They can't get the rezoning.
But they, in the recent back, they haven't happened certain.
That's true.
It would be based on the mix that they presented. All right, so you heard that, okay, so all those, you know what? We have to do roll call for this, please. Roll call vote, sorry.
LaKayla Mann? Okay. Gregory Alvarez?
Yes.
Hindi Bendel? Yes. Benjamin Bendit?
Yes.
Christopher Bromson? Approved? Okay. Joanne Brown?
Approved, yes.
Michelle Brunson?
Abstain. Thank you.
Edward Sen?
Yes.
Carmen Sarabel? Carl Henry Cesar?
Yes.
Florenzia Chang Ajita? Yvette Clergeon? Mark Cohen? Stephen Cohen?
Yes.
Elizabeth Dennis?
Yes.
Derek Donald? Sabina Dorville? Joseph Dweck.
Yes.
Yehuda Eckstein. Lee Harmon.
Yes.
Musa Hassoun.
Yes.
William Hatter. Midi Harris.
Yes.
Mordechai Wazarski.
Yes.
Nadika Johnson. Yes?
Yes.
Shahid Khan.
Yes.
Naomi Lipnick.
Abstain.
Donna Loggins.
Yes.
Sasha Maslowski.
Yes.
Melissa Minnick.
Yes.
Ephraim Nirenberg.
Yes.
Boris Noble. Eric Ost.
Yes.
Ornella Parker. Susan Phillip.
Yes.
Zvi Plotzker.
Yeah.
Edward Powell.
Yes.
Barnum Passant.
Yes.
Mohammed Razvi. Bazaruhi.
Yes.
Nina Sagner.
Yes.
Talisha Stainville.
Yes.
Moshe Schoenfeld. Joel Siegel.
Yes.
Gail L. Smith.
Yes.
Abraham Treff.
Yes.
Deborah Valentin. Corazon Valiente.
Yes.
Don Mary Walker.
Yes.
Glenn Wallen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your attention to detail. Just want to recognize two representatives or elected officials from Public Advocate Jemani Williams' office, Jacob Gold.
I think he just walked out.
I think just, and from Congresswoman Yvette Clark's office, Orlando Ross. Hi. Yes.
Not until public session.
Oh, before I want to make sure Nina's point about the email.
She's just recognizing
No.
you during public session.
We're going to do it
You can speak.
offline on that. Okay, Borough Board report. I'm going to go so fast, I swear. On Tuesday, December 5th, the Brooklyn Borough Board meeting was, and a public hearing was held. The first order of business was a public hearing. The New York City Department of Transportation, DOT, presented a proposal to restore the Hill Drive Bridge located in historic landmark Prospect Park, Brooklyn, a historic structure built and designed by Calvert Vaux in 1890 and listed in the National Register of Historical Places. Through structural improvements, aesthetic enhancements, and parkland protection. The closure of the entirety of the bridge and likely the low water paths underneath are expected. Additional restricted access to parts of the Wellhouse Drive to accommodate mobilization and staging are also expected. The recommendation to support was approved unanimously by the Borough Board members eligible to vote on the matter. DOT will now appear before Landmarks Preservation Committee for approval plan. Under old business, the representative from Councilmember Aviles' office retracted the motion for the office of the Borough President to explore a centralized grievance process for board members. Earlier, before all other business of the board commenced, Councilmember Hanif spoke in response to her representative's seconding of the now retracted motion, asking the Borough President's office to do more for community boards to expand local democracy. Quick announcement, there's a reminder that community board applications are due February 19th, 2024. I hope I didn't steal your thunder. And that ends the Borough Board report. For other reports, I'm reporting out that as chair of Community Board 14 and head of this agency, I am newly required to complete equal employment opportunity training totaling 5 hours. It was a lot. That training was completed on December 5th, 2023, and proof of such was submitted to the New York City Equal Employment Opportunity Commission on December 13th. All right. This is in regards to the self-nominations of the October 16th general meeting. I received an email from board member Donald Loggins regarding concerns about the nominations for first vice chair during our general meeting on October 16th. He stated that Robert's Rules of Order do permit self-nomination from the floor. When I was planning the procedure to fill this executive position, I referred to my hard copy edition, it's the 10th edition of Robert's Rules, newly revised, and it's also its companion, Robert's Rules in Brief. This is the most current edition, but printed in year 2000. Page 417, line 29 through 35, and page 418, line 1 through 35 describe the process of nomination from the floor. In my edition, Robert's rules and the companion are silent regarding self-nomination. Rather than interpreting silence as neutral, i.e. permissible and not permissible, I interpreted the silence as having no provision for. I'm very sorry about that. We are reaching out to the Civic Engagement Commission for parliamentary procedure clarification when Robert's rules fall silent. So we will be better equipped to handle those situations in the future. I will report in their council at the next executive committee meeting, which could perhaps be in January. As for the self-nomination of Donald Loggins, he was swiftly nominated by his peer Corazon Valiente and was considered by the executive committee along with all other nominees. I thank you for understanding, and I will always continue to take your feedback as my ongoing education in this position. Regarding the Midwood Station Post Office, in partnership with Brooklyn Community Board 15, myself and District Manager Campbell signed onto a letter to Postmaster General LaJoy in opposition of the relocation of the Midwood Station Post Office from 1288 Coney Island Avenue in the 1130 zip code to 954 Kings Highway in the 1123 zip code. The proposed relocation takes the 1130 post office out of its current community district, and the proposed site is well over a mile from its current location. I urge community members who will be affected by this relocation to reach out to your local offices of your respective federal representatives and express your concern. Are there any questions about Borough Board or other reports that I provided? Okay. Yes? Sorry, can you please repeat the address of the new post office? Okay, where they're proposing to relocate it to will be 954 Kings Highway.
I will send you a copy of the letter so you have all of the details in writing tomorrow. Of course.
All right, this ends the chair's report. Moving on to topical committees. First up will be Human Services and then Youth Services. Is Human Services, yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We had our meeting, our first meeting, my co-chair and I, Yvette Claire Jean, we co-hosted on November 20th. She's not here tonight because she had to work. Darrell White from the Attorney General's office was there, that he addressed issues concerning seniors. One of the things he reported was that more than $3 billion have been scammed from seniors. And he suggested that, you know, all seniors get the Smart Senior booklet and also the deed theft pamphlet, which I believe he said he was going to send some copies to the board office. I'm not sure if that happened. He instructed, you know, he suggested that when shopping online, that one should make sure that the site has that safety lock in the URL and, you know, never give social security numbers, credit card, social security numbers and passwords. Should never give that out. He also suggested that one should create their own passwords, write them down so they'll remember. Make sure it includes not just letters, numbers, but also characters as well. Never use birth dates or names of pets or loved ones. And that whenever you get a call from the bank, that you should hang up and call your bank yourself. He spoke about phishing, and there were two different meanings for phishing. One was when they try to get your credit card or social security or bank account or password online. The other was taking your checks out of the mail, washing the mail and the checks, and writing in their own number that they want and to themselves. And Glenn suggested that you use a gel pen, which will make it more difficult for them. So there was that. Darryl also informed us to be aware of elder abuse. You know, if you see the elderly being afraid to engage or afraid to go out, then you should, you know, pay attention to that. He also suggested that wills should be notarized, power of attorney should be given when dealing with medical issues, and just not to let things lag by, but stay on top of everything. And you can go to our CB14 YouTube channel to see everything in detail, and it's from November 20th. Now, also mentioned then, and just a reminder, in honor of Dwayne Joseph and the health disparities in Flatbush, for the month of January, we'll be hosting the Lunch and Learn series every Wednesday in January. That's the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, 24th, and 31st. The topics will be week 1, National Diabetes Prevention National Diabetes Prevention Program, Kings County Wellness Center will be hosting. Week 2, Diabetes Prevention, Control, and Health Resources. Week 3, Health and Wellness, Lifestyles for Longevity. Week 4, Wellness and Nutrition, Healthy Lifestyle. Week 5, Maternal Health in the Communities of Color, Paradigm Shifts for Cultural Competency. Now, please support by sharing the flyers when you get them and spreading word of mouth and showing up for these Lunch and Learn series. In the past, we've had great success, and we need to change the disparities within our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And she didn't mention those Lunch and Learn will be between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. It'll only be an hour long. Thank you very much. Just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. You could put it in your calendar because we have some really good presenters coming. Youth Services, Education, and Libraries Committee.
Hey folks, good evening. So I'm Carl, a co-chair of the Youth Services Education Library Committee.
Oh, and I'm Eric. Nice to see you guys.
So we'll just be doing a you go, I go. So we had a pretty jam-packed agenda on our November 30th meeting. So the first piece of that meeting was a presentation from Lorna Blancaflor, who's the director of the New Americans Initiative at the Flatbush YMCA. And so basically, this is funded through DYCD through the Neighborhood Development Area, which is federal funding. And so the reason that matters is because the programs that I'm about to tell you, a majority of them are only for people within 5 zip codes. And these zip codes are 11218, 11230, 11210, 11203, and 11226. And so what this means is the funding that they got for this at the Flatbush YMCA, it is for people within those zip codes. They're hoping that in the future they could have more funding to serve people within Flatbush who are not within those zip codes, but that's their purview. And so I just wanted to set that. And so basically what she said was they have 4 sites. They have Flatbush, they also have Chinatown, they have Flushing and Harlem. And the main goal is basically to provide services that support immigrants and refugees to acquire the skills to become self-sufficient and also live prosperous lives within the U.S. And the hope is that in turn also helps strengthen the overall community itself. And so some of the programs and services that they offer, but it's not all inclusive. They have ESL and civics classes for students, for people age 18 and up. They also have case management. They also have support services ranging from immigration, food access, childcare, food safety, other things. And they also have partnerships with several organizations, some of them being CAMBA, Brooklyn Library. These are not all of them, these are just some of the partnerships that they have with certain organizations. And so the main heads up is that they have new classes starting on January 8th, 2024 at the Flatbush YMCA. They have an online registration period that is January 2nd through January 3rd. And they also have an in-person registration period that is January 8th through January 19th. And the important thing too is, as of our November 30th meeting, they hadn't gotten word that they had been affected by the budget cuts that the current administration had implemented. The catch with that is because the USCD is a contract agency, then some of those had already been implemented. And so it is yet to be determined if those cuts and, you know, whatever ones may or may not happen in the future could affect their programming. But that's the recap of the New Americans Initiative. So now I turn it over to Eric.
We also had a guest speaker from NIMIC, which is the Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation, and although they are based in Washington Heights, they have services citywide. It's an organization that helps people find sustainability in New York City. They work with new immigrants, low-income individuals and families, and they work with long-term residents on housing and tenants' rights. All kinds of services that people can be referred to for support, SNAP benefits, rental assistance, grants, tax prep, consumer debt services. They do legal advocacy for housing, for immigration, tenants' rights. They help people with health insurance. They have community health, wellness, counseling programs, domestic violence services. Really wonderful program. She was at the youth committee because they also have very good programs for 16 to 24-year-olds. They have vocational trainings, paid trainings, security guard, home health aid services in what they call their Youth Build program. They have GED as well as and business training skills. And this is primarily for out of work and out of school kids. So if you work with social services or violence prevention programs and there are people who need support, kids who need support, young adults, this is a wonderful program. So the email or the website is nmic.org, and I encourage you to check it out.
So hey folks, I'm back.
We have like 30 more seconds.
30 more seconds. So then the short story is we had some pre-planning for our youth conference. It's going to be earlier this year, so we're looking at either the Tuesday or Wednesday of the first 3 weeks in March. And we are looking at locations, so we're considering Brooklyn College, Suba, where we did it last year, but we're also considering the Flatbush Y. And so stay tuned, and our next meeting will be on January 11th, 2024, which is a Thursday.
One other new business, we did have one of our community board members attend. The Brooklyn Educational Opportunity Center at SUNY also has very similar programs to the other ones we mentioned. Their recruiting cycle is through February 1st, career programs, tuition free. And the last thing I just want to say, on October 31st, Rita Joseph's office awarded PS 217, which is at the corner of Coney Island Avenue in Newkirk, a $500,000 grant to upgrade it's a playground, but it's a school to park playground. And so that is open to the community once the school closes. It's one of the few spaces in the whole neighborhood, highly used. So that happened, and you should know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Before we move to the next topical committee, I just received the public session sign-up sheet. I see several people who I suspect are here regarding Avenue H. So the decision has been made by the board. What I suggest, and I'm trying to be cognizant of your time, is that the public session is not the place to speak about this matter. We've heard it. We've deliberated over it this evening. What I suggest is that you be in touch with the borough president's office to find out when he will have his public hearing so that you can continue to advocate for your community and express your concerns. But tonight we won't be hearing any statements about 817 Avenue H. My apologies. I hope you understand. But of course, you have any concerns, please reach out to the district office. It's considered service delivery at this point, and we're always here, happy to help you. Moving on to the next topical committee. Transportation, thank you.
Look at you, ready to go.
We have a meeting, not reporting on one.
in the past. We have a meeting coming up this coming Thursday, the 21st. It's going to be on WebEx at 6:30. We're going to have a report on truck traffic rules and enforcement, and we'll have representatives from the NYPD Transportation Bureau. We're also going to have a presentation from the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity. And I take it that's part of the Department of City Planning, is that right? Yeah, okay. And they're going to talk on distribution zones and their potential impacts on last mile trucking. We're also going to have a discussion about last mile trucking.
So if you guys are interested in trucks, the meeting's in 2 days. I'll bring my 2-year-old.
Musa alerted me to something. It's a for-profit thing, so it's not necessarily a board matter. But our, most, if not all our neighborhoods in CB14 are entitled to discounts on city bikes. So if you're a city bike person, you might want to check that out.
Really?
Sneaky.
Really?
Sneaky.
Next committee will be Community Environment, Cultural Affairs, and Economic Development.
Good evening, everyone. We'll try to keep this brief. On Councilmember Joseph had a town hall on flood mitigation on November 14th. It was live streamed via YouTube, and it's made available on CB14's YouTube page. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. It was informative. And we'll be having our upcoming meeting on January 16th, tentatively. And scheduled is Paige Kloss, the FCNY Fellow, to present a preliminary report on CB14's flooding, a project that they've been working on, and hopefully we'll have some follow-ups from the flooding town hall as well. And Kenneth Mbanu will be presenting on the Flatbush Junction bid and the happenings that are going on there. Tentatively, yes? No?
Tentatively, and the date I will confirm with you is the 18th.
Okay.
Are we confirmed for the 18th? We can double check that before the calendar goes out tomorrow.
All right.
That's where I had it.
Great.
Sorry, January looks like this.
Sorry.
You said it all, so we'll get at that.
Thanks, sorry.
So far, the shortest presentation does go to Community Environment. Next presentation is from Community Safety Committee.
Consider that a challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you just meant.
Try to be 1 minute, 23 seconds.
Starting like.
Now.
Now, okay. Sean did steal my thunder. The 70th Precinct Community Council meeting is this Wednesday, 7:30 p.m., 175 Lawrence Avenue. It's the holiday party, toy distribution, and perhaps most importantly, it is the first opportunity, should you so wish, to meet our new deputy inspector. And he will be coming to our meeting on January 23rd. Deputy Inspector Gregory Mackey will begin as our new CO. I think he began like last week, maybe? Ed, is that correct, Sean? Okay, he's already had like one meeting, I think, with the clergy liaison to the 7-0. He was formerly the CO of the Transit District 33 in Fulton Street. And for those of you who are fans of Inspector Sembrano, I know there are many of you, he's going to be at Trollborough, Brooklyn South, if you want to stop in and say hi. We have two other agenda items on the 23rd. The first is FTNY will be presenting on fire prevention, and I'm also hoping that they can address the e-bike battery issue as well as general battery storage issues for EVs as well. And then at the City of Yes, they were discussing the solar panel storage facilities as well. And last, we will have a report from the DA's office, and that is it. What I clock at?
They won't be there. That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, no, you beat it. No, you did.
We just want to wish
you beat Community Environment by 3 seconds.
We just want to wish everyone who celebrated a happy Hanukkah and the people who are celebrating a Merry Christmas.
She did
Kwanzaa,
ruined it.
And a Happy New Year.
No. Okay, moving on to the next report, Housing and Land Use Committee.
Hello, everybody. Greg Alvarez, Talisha Sainville. We just like to echo the transportation meeting on the 21st, where we're talking about City of Yes, because that ties into our next meeting, but it's not really our next meeting. It's a public hearing that's going to be scheduled on January 3rd. Is that right? Or is it the 4th?
Yes.
January 3rd, 6:30 at the district office, but we will have a live stream. But we encourage everyone, just based on previous discussions, to make sure you get your comments in ahead of time if you're not able to attend. We're going to talk about City of Yes, economic opportunity, and from that, we need a recommendation to be presented to the full board. So we encourage everyone to be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have the new record?
There you go.
Talisha. That concludes topical committees. Moving on to ad hoc committees, CB14 Flatbush African Burial Ground Task Force.
I'm Talisha Sainville, and there is nothing to report for this month for the African Burial Ground Task Force, and I'm not lying about it. So, thank you.
And you win the record.
And you win the record. All right. Quick thank you to Wayne Roosevelt and the East Midwood Jewish Center for hosting our meeting as always. Also thanks to Mark Moss for live streaming this meeting. Moving on to the public session. This brings us to our public comment period. Board members are expected to remain for the public comment period. Speakers can sign up for time with Sarah today at the back table until the beginning of the public comment period. So that has ended. What?
Were we going to address the comments? What comments?
About how emails got out.
Okay, I'll backtrack. I thought we were going to talk about that offline, but about 13 board members received emails today from 2 members of the community that live around the Avenue H rezoning project. It was, those emails addressed were not given out by the board office for sure. It could be that there was some contact. I don't know how they got out. Anyway, we received 2 emails from residents, and I very swiftly replied back to both people and requested that all manner of communication please only go through the board office, and the board office is quite reliable at disseminating information to us personally. So I do not know how the emails were distributed. It did not come from the board office. I was included in that distribution.
I was surprised. And I will follow up and ask the person who distributed the email to me where she got those other addresses and get back to you.
I mean, I live like 6 blocks up on.
Just for the sake of time, so we've addressed it, and I've reported out what happened, and, okay.
You sort of mentioned, and that was the emails you read out loud?
Yes.
And you said, well, based on what we thought, you would or wouldn't continue doing that. And I personally don't like the idea of being influenced by someone who did not give the person in the meeting a chance to respond. So
this could come up as a comment.
Yeah, I can, we can talk about this as other business. We're, here in the public session, or we can talk about it at the executive committee meeting, which is 6:30 p.m. I'm sorry.
January 16th.
January 16th. Okay? Just for the sake of time, because it's, yeah. And then we can have a better discussion about it rather than rushing through it.
And now?
This brings us to our public comment period. Board members are expected to remain for the public comment period. Speakers can sign up for time with Sarah in the back of the room. That is now closed. Matters of civic interest and announcements of public events are invited. No partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises are permitted. Each speaker will be permitted up to 3 minutes and may not receive additional time from another speaker. Speakers are directed to address the assembly from the front of the room. At the conclusion of the 3-minute period, each speaker must return to his or her seat. The board has an obligation to conduct its business in an orderly manner. Any person preventing the meeting from continuing may be asked to leave. The intent of the public comment period is to permit board the board and the community a chance to hear diverse perspectives on public issues. Accordingly, speaker time will be assigned first to speakers from different groups, then to speakers addressing different issues, and finally, time permitting, to additional speakers on an issue from a single group. It is now 8:51 p.m., and the first speaker is Eileen Mullaney Newman.
Hi, good evening, folks. Basically what she said earlier, get your community board applications in. Please go, you can do it online, brooklynbp.nyc.gov. You should have gotten a notification if your term was expired. It's everybody who is on in 2022. So please do that. Please do it by the 19th so we don't have any kind of issues. Thank you. Have a happy new year.
Thank you very much. And, next speaker will be Venus Scantleberry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. I'm Venus Scantleberry. I am the Brooklyn Outreach Coordinator for the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board. Essentially, we are a city agency that independently investigates, mediates, and administratively prosecutes allegations of police misconduct. Our jurisdiction is excessive force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, and offensive language. Our agency's goal is to stress neutrality and unbiased investigations. We know that the police department is an integral part of our society. We want to ensure that if folks feel that they've experienced police misconduct, that they know that we are an agency that can help. I have a couple of announcements. I'll make it very brief. We held our past board meeting this December 13th. That was, I think, this last week, Wednesday. Our Executive Director, Jonathan Darsh, spoke about the agency no longer being able to investigate certain police misconduct allegations due to the 15% PEG mandated by Adams' administration. Some of these allegations include refusal to provide name and show number, untruthful statements, and seizure of property. Our executive director wants you to know that the agency tried our very best to uphold civilian oversight. However, without the proper funding, staff are not able to conduct their jobs efficiently and effectively, hence why we had to relinquish some of our jurisdiction. Lastly, on a higher note, our Youth Advisory Council is currently accepting applications. We are really scouting young leaders between the ages of 10 to 18 that want to be more civically engaged and be ambassadors to help improve police and community relations. They do team building activities, act as ambassadors, do different interrelated networking. We just recently had our Youth Advisory Council do a youth-led summit that had voices from Zambia, Nigeria, UK, Mexico, and it was youth-led and youth-driven. So that's the work that we do. We want to make sure that CB14 has a lot of youth representation on our council. If you want to reach me, you can reach me at my email. It's V as in Victor, SCANTLEBURY, I know it's long, at ccrb.nyc.gov. I'm Venus, and I'll be here for the remainder of the meeting, and it's great to meet you all. And have a happy holiday, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, and a beautiful, prosperous New Year. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker will be Abraham Malachowski, followed by Brian Grady.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avraham. I'm representing Councilmember Farrah Lewis. I'd just like to start off by thanking everybody for coming out tonight and to thank the Community Board and the Chair for giving me this opportunity to speak. I'd also like to begin by sending the council members greetings and sending everybody a happy Hanukkah to those who celebrated. Throughout the past month, the council member hosted a lot of tree lightings, as well as one at Newkirk Plaza. We would like to thank FDC and the Merchants Association for partnering with us to help spread the holiday cheer. I would like to join in welcoming Deputy Inspector Mackey for taking the helm of the 70th Precinct. We wish him much success in his new position as he works to keep our community safe, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with him as he takes this new role. We also wanted to thank Inspector Separano for everything that he has done for this community. The 70th Precinct as well will be hosting their toy giveaway, as was mentioned earlier, on Wednesday. It will be at 175 Lawrence Avenue at 7:30 p.m., and we hope to see you all there. As always, our office is located on 1434 Flatbush Avenue. We offer assistance with many things, such as help finding affordable housing and help with immigration. If anyone has any questions or concerns or anything they would like addressed, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at 718-629-2900. That's 718-629-2900. Thank you very much, and I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays and a happy and healthy new year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next will be Brian Grady, followed by Orlando Ross.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brian Grady. I'm Director of Constituent Services for Councilmember Rita Joseph. Councilmember Joseph also sends her greetings. Would like to say, hope everyone enjoyed their Hanukkah. Hope everyone celebrating enjoys their Christmas, Kwanzaa, and New Year. Just a few events just to announce. I have, as usual, my flyers out on the back. We have a toy giveaway coming up on Thursday, December 21st. That's this Thursday at 3 p.m. This is with Morris Heights Health Center, and that's going to be at 1095 Flatbush Avenue while supplies last. Another one on Friday. This is going to be with Metro Plus at 2221 Church Avenue, and that's from 2 to 5. Monday, January 8th, the NILAG, New York Legal Assistance Group van is going to be back in the district for anyone with questions related to housing or benefits. Taking those appointments, if you want to contact our office to sign up for a slot for that. And we continue to offer our services at 930 Flatbush Avenue. If you have any issues or questions with the city, feel free to contact us. We also continue to offer support with housing searches every Wednesday and Thursday through Flatbush Development Corporation and Churches United for Fair Housing. Immigration services with CUNY Citizenship Now and Life of Hope by appointment. And last thing, we are still taking ideas for participatory budgeting. I have a flyer in the back with a nifty new QR code. If you have anything you'd like to see us consider for that process, feel free to reach out or just fill out the form on the QR code. And again, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next will be Orlando Ross, and followed by Jacob Gold, who will be the last speaker.
Happy holidays, everyone. My name is Orlando Ross. I work with Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. It's an honor to be here. I'm just going to have a few announcements to give you. I work in the area of small business, nonprofits, anything dealing with the IRS. I heard that there was some issues going on with post office. If you have any issues with that, that's why we're here. If you have issues with immigration, our office is the office to help with immigration in the community, Social Security. We also deal with the SBA, and as I was going to communicate, SBA just made an announcement that there will be a seed fund event that's happening from January 23rd to the 25th. We would like everyone to be aware of that particular event that's going on. It's going to be a big event for people that want to do startups using their own platforms, and it's a great way for business to expand. I did speak to Ms. Sean Campbell earlier today, a little bit earlier, that there is an event going on regarding the SBA and the disaster loan assistance regarding flooding. I know that the information is already on your website. We are communicating to see if there will be some more information given to the population for CB14. Please understand that there are deadlines for that, and I believe it's in February 4th, and there's another one after that as well. So it's time sensitive. If you need to get access to these SBA loans, you need to start now. One bright moment, our office will be crowning our Congressional App Challenge winner, which was geared towards our high school students and middle school students to promote STEAM and STEM education. We will be honoring that person on the 21st at the Brooklyn Children's Museum, and we will be opening it up for other opportunities for other creative information for students. This is an opportunity for students to learn about coding and putting different things of that together. Last thing I would like to communicate to everyone, it is the holiday season, and the IRS is requesting that you be vigilant regarding your own personal identity and not to get involved with too many charities, because they say that some charities are fraudulently created so that they can get your information. So when you are going online, you should use due diligence. I was hearing about phishing and different things of that nature. Congresswoman right now is one of those key people on the Hill that is dealing with cybersecurity threats. She works in the Department of Homeland Security. She's one of those committee members on that prestigious board. We want to make sure that our seniors are protected. And that's about it. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I lied. It's Jacob Gold, and then the last person is William Lewis.
Good evening, everyone. It is great to be back.
Welcome back. Seriously.
Yes. For those who don't know, I am Jacob Gold. I represent the office of New York City Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, and yes, I was on his staff and the council, so I used to be here every month. District Service Cabinet, public hearings, right, Sean? Yeah. You can vouch, right?
Vouching.
Right. Okay. So just a couple quick updates. First of all, New Yorkers should know COVID-19 updates. Protect yourself from COVID this holiday season. Order up to 4 rapid tests per household at covidtests.gov. New Yorkers can sign up for the updated COVID-19 vaccine as well as flu shot at vaccinefinder.nyc.gov. Bring climate justice home for the holidays. Our team compiled a 3-part series on the Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, where we've shared resources for homeowners and renters and information on how the IRA can help New Yorkers save money. And read the series at advocate.nyc/blog/tag inflation-reduction act. If you want to come up and get that exact site, would be a URL, you can come get that from me. I'm going to jump to the legislative updates. Following our most recent announcement of budget cuts, our office is working to protect essential services. These broad cuts to essential programs do real harm to communities. We will push the administration to ensure the city upholds fiscal responsibility and moral responsibility at the same time. And alarming numbers of fires have been caused by lithium-ion batteries powering micromobility devices, elevating the urgency of such state safety standards. The public advocate highlighted concerns surrounding the risks associated with the use and storage of these devices. He stressed the need for safety measures to protect New Yorkers. And just, I'll finish, watch Ask the Advocate on News 12, and that is every third Monday of the month from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. We have a bunch of bills up for vote. One of them is on...
That was time.
Right, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You could say goodnight. You could see...
Good night, and Madam Chair, pleasure to meet you. Loving the way things are running here. I had to cover another board before this one. I'm not going to say which one. They don't do it right.
He's complimenting me. He could have all the time in the world.
We got to amend the bylaws.
My bad. All right. But seriously, next speaker, William Lunas from Brooklyn Public Library. Did I say that right?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I guess we saved the most depressing for last.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Budget news. Shouldn't be laughing, actually. Last month, the city's 3 library systems received a 5% cut to the current year's budget. And for Brooklyn Public Library, this means that's ending Sunday service at 8 branches. That was December 17th was the last day of Sunday service for foreseeable future. And it also means reduced spending on library materials, programming, building repairs, and staff. We are faced with staff shortages for a while, and I have 3 shortages in my branch currently right now, and not getting replacements right now, so. Yeah, thank you. Let me see. Without sufficient funding, we cannot sustain our current levels of service, and any further cuts to the library's budget will unfortunately result in deeper service impacts. Shortly after we were given a 5% cut, which was $6.5 million, we were told to submit a plan for another 5% cut in January. So, yeah, so we're coming up with a plan for that to take effect in January. So we know how much Brooklynites rely on vital resources that the libraries provide. We remain committed to meeting their needs as best as we can. And later this winter, we will be advocating against the cuts, and we will be asking for help. But right now, not too good.
I think he's coming to our next.
One thing just to end on.
He's coming to your next meeting.
Previous speaker spoke about COVID tests. Just a reminder that all Brooklyn Public Libraries give away free COVID tests for anybody who needs. Any branch, stop in, pick up as many as you need. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. And if I don't see you, Happy New Year. Motion to adjourn. Seconded. All right. This meeting of Community Board 14 is over at 9:08 p.m.
Great job, Joanne. Thank you.
Good job.